Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about the KC3 case. The three Kansas City fans who were found dead in their friend's backyard on the 9th of January. Having been missing for a couple of days, one of the guys, Clayton McGeeney, his girlfriend, broke into the house and found them. David Harrington was in a lawn chair, and along with Clayton, Ricky Johnson was also dead in the backyard. Cops were called. The dude whose house it was, Jordan Willis, was cuffed, detained and questioned, and then cops deduced that there was no foul play. That could change. And then he immediately packed up his home and checked himself into rehab, saying this was a wake-up call and he needed to deal with his addiction. There's been a huge amount of speculation since this news broke. What killed Clayton McGeeney, Ricky Johnson and David Harrington? Three men who were in the prime of their life, Ricky 38, Clayton 36 and David 37. What on earth went down that night? This was an after party. The Kansas City Chiefs had played on the afternoon of January the 7th. They'd all pal round to Jordan's house. Apparently they'd been other places first, but they ended up at Jordan's house. A fifth man, Alex Weimer Lee, was also there, but he said he left about midnight, and all the guys were watching Jeopardy when he left. Everyone was alive and well. So what happened after the clock turned midnight and January the 9th, when these guys were found frozen in the backyard? They were literally frozen. January 7th and January 8th were cold. The coldest temperatures was kind of just under freezing. January 9th got colder, but it's likely that the guys died in the early hours of January the 8th. So what killed them? Nothing official has come out from law enforcement yet, but the families have been told that the toxicology reports revealed they had marijuana, cocaine and fentanyl in their systems. The fentanyl was 3 times the lethal dose. Lethal. Enough to kill a grown man 3 times over. Jordan Willis, though, people had tried to contact him, and his lawyer came out and told a bunch of conflicting stories, but it seems to be that he slept maybe pretty much the whole time for 2 days. Not the whole time. The families were saying he was reading some messages. We don't know whether that's true or not. But assuming that all 4 of them had taken fentanyl after Alex left, because Alex was fine, okay, so he hadn't suffered any ill effects that we know about. He left. He's had a drug past. Maybe I'm speculating that he left because these guys were going to do some heavy stuff and he didn't want to get involved. Now, Clayton McGeeney's cousin has come out and, the whole family are blaming Jordan Willis. But this cousin said that Jordan Willis was known as the chemist. So people are speculating as to whether Jordan had cooked up some kind of drug for them all to take or to kill the 3 guys. Now, I don't buy that. I don't buy that he intentionally killed his 3 friends. I don't think there's any evidence of that whatsoever. Also, I'm not buying that he has a chemistry lab in his house. If there'd been any evidence of him cooking up drugs in his house, I think actually he'd probably have been arrested rather than been let go and allowed to go into rehab. But who knows? Those details are yet to come out. And there could be charges in future, because whoever supplied those guys, all of them, with the drugs that almost certainly killed them, if they can find out who that dealer was, they could potentially be done for manslaughter. Potentially. I don't know what the laws are like in Missouri, but that is a potential. So I believe that it was the fentanyl that killed them. What fentanyl does is it slows down respiration. Basically slows down the whole body. And I'm going to read here from the National Institute on Drug Abuse. What is fentanyl? Fentanyl is a powerful synthetic opioid that is similar to morphine, but is 50 to 100 times more potent. It's a prescription drug, also made and used illegally. Like morphine, it's a medicine that's typically used to treat patients with severe pain, especially after surgery. Tolerance occurs when you need a higher and or more frequent amounts of the drug to get the desired effects. Illegally used fentanyl is associated with recent overdoses. This synthetic fentanyl is sold illegally as a powder dropped onto blotter paper, put in eyedroppers or nasal sprays made into pills that look like other prescription opioids. Terrifying. Some drug dealers are mixing fentanyl with other drugs such as heroin, coke, meth and MDMA. This is because it takes very little to produce a high with fentanyl, making it a cheaper option. This is especially risky when people taking drugs don't realise they might contain fentanyl as a cheap but dangerous additive. I'm wondering whether they snorted a line of coke and it was laced with fentanyl. Like heroin, morphine and other opioids, fentanyl works by binding to the body's opioid receptors, which are found in areas of the brain that control pain and emotions. After taking opioids many times, the brain adapts to the drug, diminishing its sensitivity, making it harder to feel pleasure from anything besides the drug. When people become addicted, drug seeking and drug use take over their lives. So it results in sedation, problems breathing, and unconsciousness. When people overdose on fentanyl, their breathing can slow or stop. This can decrease the amount of oxygen that reaches the brain, a condition called hypoxia. Hypoxia can lead to a coma and permanent brain damage and even death. So 3 times the lethal dose. Maybe Jordan was lucky. Maybe he didn't take quite so much. Maybe his tolerance, he's talking about addiction. Maybe his tolerance helped him. Or he was inside. David, Clayton and Ricky went outside and it was freezing. Now, if they went unconscious and into a coma, it's not like sleeping where cold will wake you up. No, not at all. So people are speculating whether the fentanyl killed them first or whether they actually died of hypothermia. So the fentanyl was a contributor. The hypothermia was the eventual killer. I'm not so sure, given that it's been alleged that they were 3 times over the lethal amount. It could be a contributor though. Prolonged exposure to cold will eventually use up your body's stored energy. The result is hypothermia or abnormally low body temperature. A body temperature that's too low affects the brain, making the victim unable to think clearly or move well. This makes hypothermia particularly dangerous because a person may not know it's happening and may not be able to do anything about it. Slows your pulse, your breathing, and you lose consciousness. I think these guys were unconscious already because of the fentanyl. Maybe the cold was a contributor. I think it's more probably likely fentanyl killed them though. But we'll wait and see. That's just my opinion based on the information that we have to date. Don't do drugs, guys. Too much at stake. Your whole life's at stake. Bye for now.